Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video we have some Retribution nerfs, and we're also going to talk about a weak aura that will really help you anytime you're playing Herald of the Sun. So let's go ahead and start first with the nerfs, the real nerf, and the bug fix that amounts to a nerf technically. So the actual nerf is going to be Herald of the Sun, Dawnlight damage reduced by 15%. If you looked at your total damage breakdown, playing Herald of the Sun, you're going to see Dawnlight's doing a very high percentage of your damage. So this is going to be a real nerf that you will feel. It's obviously not 15% to your overall damage, but it's 15% to one of your major abilities that's doing a big chunk of your damage. So it's going to be felt. It's obviously going to be different depending on boss fight, depending on what content you're doing. But it's going to be, probably a 1 or 2% nerf would be my guess. I didn't actually math it out. But it's probably not going to be gigantic to your overall, but it's going to try to put Dawnlight, which is a passive ability, meaning it's not a button you press, in more line with other passive abilities in the game. And it's probably still going to be stronger than most of them, but it is a hero talent, so it in my opinion does deserve to be a little bit stronger than maybe a normal passive ability would be. So this is a real nerf. Did we really need a nerf? No. Was this overperforming? Yes. So it is what it is. What I would like to see is maybe some of the older nerfs that they did at the end of Dragonflight reverted, such as some single target nerfs like Final Verdict, Blade of Justice, things like that. I'd like to see maybe those are reverted from nerfs or somewhat reverted. Instead, and I'm kind of fine with this nerf would be what I say. I'm fine with this nerf, but I'd like to see maybe it made up for in a different way. Let's go ahead and jump to the bug fixes that amount to nerfs. So the first bug fix is just about target dummies. That doesn't really matter. The other two both involve our instrument of retribution. So when somebody dies, it triggers our wings. The first thing was it was triggering Dawnlight when somebody died. So when you pop your wings, it triggers Dawnlight. However, it's not supposed to happen when somebody dies. So basically every time somebody died, you got to put Dawnlight on stuff automatically and have it do a ton of damage because the damage is so high. This is not how it's supposed to work. It's worth noting that if you're in a run or a Mythic Plus or a raid fight and nobody dies, this won't affect you even a little bit. It'll affect you 0% because it's only when somebody dies. Same thing with the next one, and that was causing Avenging Wrath to trigger if you had Crusade, and Crusade to trigger if you had Avenging Wrath. So if you Crusade was triggering due to Avenging Wrath being talented, then this is actually helping you because you want your Avenging Wrath to trigger on Instrument of Retribution if possible. However, everybody playing Crusade, like me, was getting Avenging Wrath for that little short burst, which crit is much better for a short burst than having to stack up Crusade stacks when you don't have time. Basically, during Instrument of Retribution, you don't have time to stack your Crusade stacks. Therefore, Avenging Wrath is better for Instrument of Retribution, even if Crusade is better overall. So that we're kind of double dipping there, kind of getting best of both worlds if you're playing Crusade, and so that was fixed. Again, if nobody dies, it doesn't affect you at all. I have no issue fixing this personally. It's just a bug. Again, I would much rather see them make more common sense changes to our actual toolkit and give us damage that way, personally. This also is why we were overperforming in Heroic compared to Normal. In Normal, it's very hard to die in the raid. In Heroic, it's much easier to die at this eye level in the raid. And so with people dying, it boosts up our damage a lot when it's triggering Dawnlight. So that's why maybe you were very overperforming in Heroic. Lastly, let's talk about this weak aura. So I'll link this in the information below or whatever. This is just the first one that I found, and it works, so I just keep using it. Don't know if there's a better one. Don't know if you could write the code better, because I don't do that. But this one's from Zach AI or Zakai. I'm not sure which one that is. And I'll put it below. We'll show you what it looks like quick, and we will trigger it as well. So again, if you can use weak auras, I would suggest using this because it's going to help a lot, and it's really hard to use and track this buff without a weak aura. Because otherwise, there's no telltale sign on your screen that this is triggered. Because other things make your your Avenging Wrath glow, other than Blessing of Angie. So this just lights up here. I put it above my bars, whatever. It starts up way up here. You can move the anchor down here just by dragging it. And so yeah, that's where it is, and I'll show you what it looks like when it procs. This does a big amount of damage. If you look here, it's this talent in the center. So during my guide video, I said to maybe use Lingering Radiance in AoE situations. That's basically because, and I also mentioned in the video, maybe once we get a weak aura going, we can use Blessing of Banshee. And so I have found a weak aura since making the guide, and so let's go ahead and just use it. It procs pretty often. It procs on your damage over time effects, which is a lot of your effects. So like Blade, Wake of Ashes, Consecration, it'll probably proc relatively soon here. So we'll just get one procking. Okay, so it's already procced. Right there, we can use it. We'll see if another one procs during wings or not. Oh, it procced again. Of course, I used Avenging Wrath like an idiot, but use another one there. And they hit very, very hard, and it's very, very powerful. So it just pops up, and that means basically you should press it. Don't press, basically if you're not at 5 holy power and it pops up, you can press it. It does last for like 20 seconds, so you could save it into your wings if you wanted to. But yeah, it's very, very powerful. It's very, very good. If we can go look here on details, can I find it? I don't know if I can find it. I will say the biggest crit that I've got on a Blessing of Banshee proc is 2.4 million. Now I think I might have been fully buffed for that, but it hits very, very hard. And so this is a very good talent to take as long as you're tracking it, if you can use the weak aura. I would almost go as far to say as if you don't use weak auras, you don't want to use weak auras, to just use Lingering Radiance, because it's very hard to track, and you don't want to be pressing Avenging Wrath very often, especially in AoE situations, if you don't have that proc. So like, it's one of those things where like, unless they make a UI thing that makes something light up on your screen or something different happen when Blessing of Banshee procs, this is almost as like a weak aura or you don't use it situation, in my opinion. So wanted to share that with you guys because it helped me out a lot. It's a lot of damage, so I did want to share that amidst maybe some negative news on the nerf. So that'll be it for this one, guys. As always, I do ask you to please subscribe to the channel. It helps me out so much. If you're already a subscriber, I encourage you to check out the Patreon. And other than that, everybody, have a good one.